And welcome here to the cozy confines of Cousins Gymnasium on the campus of Tufts University for the matchup of the day across D3 men's basketball. It is the high-flying Keene State Owls, ranked number 7 in the country, facing off against the strength and ferocity of the 16th-ranked Tufts Jumbos in a rematch of what was one of the best games of the 23-24 basketball season. I'm Riley Daniel, joined by Jake Flossie and Harrison Sternberg, and Jake, I'll go right to you because we don't have a ton of time before tip-off. What are we looking at from this Keene State team who love to play fast?
Yeah, this is a Keene State team that are not afraid to shoot the ball as well. They are very aggressive from that three-point line. They take 30 three-point shots per game, which is 10 more than Tufts do. They make 11 as well, hitting an impressive .37 clip. They're very strong from the perimeter, but they sacrifice when doing that. They leave the paint open. They have been outscored by 50 in the paint, and normally when you have a team that's undefeated who have blown out opponents like they have against Thomas and MIT, they are leading every statistic. However, they've been outscored by 50 points in the paint and been out-rebounded by average of 5 per game, including against teams like Thomas and MIT, who are not very strong teams. So they really are okay with letting those rebounds go, letting those paint points go, just knowing they can hit teams from the outside. Alongside that, they've their tallest person in their starting lineup is 6'4". The shortest person in Tufts starting lineup is listed as 6'4". That height battle will be really interesting to watch because Tufts has a 6'11 center in Josh Bernstein who can really control that paint alongside players like Scotch and Messi. So the Jumbos will have that rebounding advantage, but they'll have to really shut down the Keene State Owls from the outside.
And on the other side, Harrison, yeah, the Jumbos have the height, but the story of the year so far has really been the two sophomore sensations.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Riley. I mean, I wanted to highlight two players, Dylan Riley out of Sammamish, Washington, and John Medley from Laurelton, New York. Both guards, Medley 6'4", Riley 6'6". Riley has jumped his points per game up by 6, and his shooting is way up. His minutes per game are already up by 21 per game, and he started all 7 games so far. He's also averaging 2 assists, 3 rebounds, shooting 43% from the field and 39% from beyond the arc. And if we jump over to John Medley, this year he's averaging 10 points per game. His minutes per game has gone up from 18 to 27. Game has doubled from last year, although his three-point shooting is way down from what it was last year, only shooting at a 19% clip right now. I expect that to go up as we get deeper into the season. These two guys are going to be key to the Jumbo's success all year long.
Jake, on the other side, what are you looking at in terms of guys to watch for this Keene State team?
Well, I feel like there's only one name we can really look at here. Octavio Brido has been playing phenomenally this season and really in his whole career as an Owl. He's put up, in his last 3 games, 30 points, 27 points, and 20 points, including a 27-point, 15-point double-double against the Williams Eeps, who were ranked 25th in the country at that point. All-American last year, all LEC, very, very strong player, Octavio Brido. He just won the player of the tournament for the Purple and Gold Classic out in Williamstown earlier. So he's going to be a very strong player. And if he's clicking tonight, this Keene State offense will be doing very strong.
That is a point. I think one thing we do have to mention before we take a break for the national anthem, the two big players who aren't here, one on each side. For the Jumbos, the one who was so big in that game last year in Kai Champion, scoring 17, and of course on the Keene State side, Jeff Hunter, who was really everything for that program.
Jeff Hunter led the nation in double-doubles for 2 years in a row, has the team record for career rebounds and career blocks. Such a fundamental part of this team. 2-time All-American, first team, such a strong player, and he's going to be sorely missed. And that's how we've seen. They've shifted away from this rebounding because they don't have their star rebounder, their star big, and they've moved to a much smaller lineup without him.
Well, the question is, can shooting or height win a basketball game? We'll find out in a couple minutes. We're going to step aside for the national anthem. When we come back, tip-off live from Cousins. Welcome back here to Cousins Gymnasium as the starting lineups being introduced. We were talking before we went to break about those who aren't here, but I think let's take a closer look at those on the floor tonight. And one name that may sound familiar to those of you who are longtime JumboCast listeners, Spencer Aronson, the younger brother of Jumbo's star guard Tyler Aronson, is a big name to watch for this Keene State team because he can shoot the ball from deep.
He is really the 3-point specialist for the team, shooting a .455 clip this season, which is remarkably impressive. And he really led the team as well last year in 3-point percentage, 3.9 clip. Still very, very strong over the course of the season. He's certainly one who can hit it from deep.
I mean, speaking of players who can hit it from deep, Harrison, Scott Messi just seemingly every night is better and better from beyond the arc.
You know, he's really finding his stroke there. I mean, it's really like changing his game as a player. He's evolving, taking the next step to becoming an elite player, shooting on a 58% clip so far this year to go along with 65% from the field. That's going to result in 15 points a game and a lot of made shots for the Jumbos.
But if we're going to talk about the Jumbos and 3-point shooting, we can't not talk about Dylan Riley, who's attempted more than twice the 3-point attempts of anyone else in the team. And while he's got a pretty similar shooting percentage to the rest of the team, he's really the person who they look to provide from that 3-point line, which they'll need to if they want to keep up with this Keene State team, who are going to be taking a lot of shots from outside of the arc.
And as the players come out to some less than thunderous applause due to the scattered crowd here, you can't help but notice just the size difference in the last two Jumbos in Bernstein and Jamesi compared to all 5 Owls being under 6'4". You really wonder, especially with the Jumbo's ability to feed the ball inside, what the Owls are going to do defensively.
You don't want to see a huge game from Bernstein. He has to dominate down low for the Jumbos to have success today. He's had foul trouble in the past. That's going to need to be a non-factor today. If he goes straight up, he should have a lot of success on the defensive side, simply with his height advantage. He may not even need to jump sometimes. So Bernstein needs to handle his game, doesn't need to do anything too fancy. He's a big key to Jumbo's success today.
And one thing the Jumbos do have, though, is some good depth on the bench. They do have Bobby Stewart and Truman Gettings, who are bigs who can do a lot in the middle and have had substantial roles in this team in the past. Can certainly come in if Bernstein is in foul trouble.
Now, you cannot bet on D3 basketball in the state of Massachusetts, but if I could, I'd put good money on the fact that Josh Bernstein's going to win this tip. Has about a 7-inch height advantage.
Feels like a safe bet.
And that's why I don't bet. Oh, it looks like they're going to say that was not touched, so Odiasi cannot win his own tip. And it will be Jumbo ball.
Like to see the Jumbos be physical from the tip, establish some dominance, off rip, set the tone, see if they can get Keene State to be a little bit uncomfortable. Looks like Keene's going to go into a high man press off rip.
Keene in the man-to-man. Bernstein comes to collect. Medley at the top. Bernstein on the elbow now. Dribble handoff. Maracas around the screen. Back to Bernstein, who rolls up and can't get the finish. Rebound grabbed for the Owls there.
Jumbo's immediately going to the paint, knowing where they can hit this Owls team. Unsuccessful there.
Around the horn it goes. Step back three is absolutely pure from Odiasi.
Odiasi, really a double threat. He is that big man for this team, but he can hit it from deep. Like,
Yeah.
We know Jamesi can as well, but definitely a dangerous aspect of his game.
Dylan Riley looking for some help as Aronson all over him. Maracas flashes across the key. Step back from the free throw line is butter.
And like you highlighted earlier, they have Odiasi on Bernstein early today. That's a 7-inch height difference. Going to be a tough matchup underneath for Odiasi all game.
Kick out. Pull up from the free throw line. In and out there for Odiasi.
But you can already see that Odiasi is going to try and stretch the floor on the offensive side, drag Bernstein out of the paint. A little bit of a disadvantage on the defensive side for the Jumbos. Bernstein's not the best at guarding the perimeter.
Maracas calling for a screen. Bernstein and Medley trying to get set up. Medley around the flare. Twice. Going to work now. Backs his man down and gets the floater.
Yeah, I mean, the Keene State Owls are playing really frisky, handsy defense off rip. They're pressing, they're fighting all over all screens as we expected. I expect them to continue that, keep jumping the lanes, look for turnovers. This is a team that scores 26 points a game off turnovers.
Gorgeous turnaround fadeaway there from Octavio Brido. Gets himself in the book. And a reach call there on Nate Seau.
He's really applying that pressure, really trying to provide that handsy defense, even keep talking out Harrison, really get themselves an opportunity to strike on the break.
Yeah, see, I was picking up Maracas before the 3/4 court mark, which is really unheard of, especially in today's game.
Maracas with the cross on Seau. Lost the handle. Down low to Bernstein with the flush.
Bernstein got up there. He should be able to live above the rim today with a lot of success.
Brido with the up fake. Into the lane. Through Bernstein and off glass for 2.
Brido already establishing his impact early in this game. 4 points back-to-back there.
Bernstein catches. Double comes. Bernstein gets called for the walk.
And they doubled underneath that time, and I expect to see...
Oh, wait. Side referee coming in and going to get a foul at the last minute on Odiasi.
Val's got to feel unlucky there, as it looked like they were putting good pressure on him, and it looked legal from this side, but that side ref on the other side has a better view than we do.
We saw that they doubled underneath. They're going to have to continue to do that because Odiasi does not match up well.
Maracas, all sorts of contact. Medley got it. Maracas gets it back and finally finishes.
A lot of contact on that first shot there. Definitely got away with the foul.
We saw Maracas afterward put his hands up, inquiring as to why there wasn't a foul, but he is able to get the points in.
Brido with a step. Denied by Bernstein. Jumbo's going to look to run. Jamesi. Floater is money.
Does he ever miss those?
I don't think so.
You see Odiasi stretching the perimeter and Bernstein not going more than 2 steps outside of the paint. They're going to give him that 3 all day.
Jean-Baptiste left is short. Jumbo's looking to run. Riley with the head fake. Bernstein at the top. A little bit of a sloppy handoff, but Riley able to save it. Riley blocks 3 there as Brido showing off on the defensive end. Odiasi kicks. Brido 3. In and out, and the Jumbos catch a break. Jamesi inside. Bernstein catches high. Puts it down. Left hand hook. In and out.
Good look, but he's got to go up strong there. He had someone maybe a foot shorter than him, Almond. Go straight up. Don't fade away with the offhand floater.
Great pass from Jean-Baptiste, and Odiasi finishes it.
The movement on the offense from this Alice side, getting himself into space, getting in this jumbo man defense a little bit confused, has been really successful so far.
They haven't stopped moving once.
Jumbo's definitely slowing it down offensively. Jamesi lowers the shoulder, turns, tries to go off glass, and gonna get called. Ooh, a bailout call there for the Jumbos as it's gonna be Brido on the grab.
First-year coach Steve Enright there, really outraged at that call, and he's had a pretty good success, undefeated so far as Keene State coach, but this will be his second real test, having beat Williams earlier this year in his first ranked matchup this year, his second ranked battle.
Gotta say, very interested in that foul call because there definitely was contact when Jamesi went to grab the rebound, but I did not see any when he was in the motion of shooting. But he's getting 2 at the line nonetheless.
Yeah, as you touched on previously, Enright, first season at Keene State. Previously, the head coach at Bridgewater State since 2019. He's had success wherever he went. Previously coached under Dan Hurley, the esteemed UConn coach out in Storrs, Connecticut. He knows what it's like to work for a high-level basketball program, whether that's D1, D2, D3. He's coached everywhere, and now he's trying to lead Keene State to some national success.
Jumbo's defense was really unorganized there, as we saw Bernstein yelling to get a player back to guard Jean-Baptiste, which left the backside open, allowing for Keene State to get an easy 3.
Medley, Jamesi corner 3. No.
Good look. Got him on the wraparound screen there, working baseline. That's a good look for Jamesi. He'll keep taking those if he's open.
Aronson trying to get it into Brido, who comes to collect against Medley. Backing down the sophomore. Handoff, Aronson. Long 2. Absolutely nothing but net.
I don't think the net moved there, Riley.
Certainly a beautiful shot from Aronson, pulling up well on the move and able to hit a really cool shot.
And that was a long two, but don't be mistaken. That was a play set up to get a look from 3. He mistakenly had a foot on the line, ended up being a 2, but they'll keep looking for 3s.
Give and go, and a foul again against the Owls. This one going to belong to Leo Chaikin, who just checked in.
Chaikin really has a habit for accumulating these fouls. He averages 4.3 per game, 17 in his 4 games. So someone who really is on that foul trouble quite often. Keep an eye on. Bobby Stewart's checked in for the Jumbos, as has Cindy Wooten.
And it's not just Chaikin who's had foul trouble. It's the entirety of this Owls team, already up to 4 team fouls through 5.5 minutes.
And they got number 10, Leo Chaikin, on Bobby Stewart. Another 5-inch height difference for the Owls underneath.
Owls looking to get out and run. Deep 3. Just sits on the rim there from Jean-Baptiste.
A lot of coaches would have a problem with someone taking that shot in transition. Not Coach Enright, not Keene State Owls.
Bobby Stewart gives it away there. Probably had a nice, easy free throw line jumper if he wanted it.
He didn't realize that his defender had gotten caught on the pick and he had an open lane.
Chaikin gonna draw the foul on Stewart. We'll see if that's on the floor or on the shot.
Yeah, I highlighted this earlier with Stewart and Bernstein. If they go straight up, they're gonna have no problem. But they caught Stewart leaning over a little bit right there. They're gonna call that a foul every time.
Stewart, definitely a player who's more active on the passing side of the game. He's really good at finding those quick passes, but in that previous session, unable to find it.
Chaikin gets the first, and a substitution for the Owls. Liam Johnston going to check in. Adds a little bit more height, but not much.
Leo Chaikin, only a 60% free throw shooter. He'll go for the second one. Owls leading 14-11.
15-11 now as they're on an 8-1 run here in the last minute 50.
Interesting to see Johnson come in. As he's only got 9 minutes on the year. Played against MIT last match out, but not a player who gets a ton of game time, but getting on early against the number 16 Jumbos.
Medley couldn't handle the press. Euro, floater, doesn't go. Offensive rebound grab by Jean-Baptiste, kick out. Williams lost it, got it back, and hit the shot.
Williams, the transfer out of Charlotte, North Carolina, only averaging 4 points a game, getting some early burn.
Jumbo's trying to deal with this Keene State press. Wooten takes it across the timeline. Into Stewart now. Backdoor, Medley catches. Off glass for 2.
Great find from Stewart, backdoor cut. They've had success on the backdoor cut so far. I've seen 3 or 4 open looks. This time they're able to capitalize.
And there's that excellent passing that Stewart does have, able to find a perfect pass through the Medley, get him into space, and able to get it off the glass.
Owls working it around the horn. Aronson trying to use the screen. Skips it. Johnson 3. Money.
And Jumbos are having trouble stretching the perimeter defensively. They really want to have Stewart live inside the paint, and that's going to be a problem because Chaikin can shoot as well. Really, all 5 players at all times for the Owls can shoot, so the Jumbos are going to have to adjust.
Stewart threw a lot of contact, can't get the roll. And right now, the Owls starting to put it to the Jumbos. Aronson against Riley. Around it goes, Chaikin. Long 2. Yes, sir.
That was uncontested. Yeah, like I said earlier, Stewart is not leaving the paint unless he absolutely has to. Didn't even get out to a mid-range there. Uncontested for Chaikin.
They're just really exploiting the Jumbo's man defense as Stewart's trying to hold a little bit of his own, hold the middle, but that leaves an open man on the perimeter. They have to switch to a different defensive formation if they want to stop these opportunities.
Jumbo's got away with another sloppy pass there. 10 to shoot. Wooten calls the screen, crosses right. Spins, turnaround, Jay. Yes, sir.
That was pure. Doesn't get much better than that. Late in the shot clock, gotta go. ISO puts on a flurry of moves, spins, fades, cashes in.
And a timeout called there after the shot by Brandon Litton. And I think the question has to be, do the Jumbos look to go to the zone, try and stretch it out a little bit? Because right now it seems the Owls are getting whatever they want from deep.
They're really able to stretch this team because, as Harrison's mentioned, every player on this team can shoot. Every player. We've seen Johnson, they're big on the court. He had a 3 a second ago. And if every player on this team can shoot, then if you're running the zone, if you're running the man, we have Bobby Stewart out of the 3-point line, which is not what the Jumbos want. And he's choosing not to go out there, which leaves out these open looks. So they have to find a better way to adapt to this offensive structure that Keene State is playing if they want to shut down these 3-point attempts they're getting for basically for free.
I mean, you look at the stat book right now, and really the shooting is the story of the day. Keene State, 60% shooting from the field through the first 8.5 minutes. And as the Jumbos found out Saturday against WPI, you let a team shoot 60% against you, you're not going to have much success.
And I'm sure that's what Coach Linton is addressing in the timeout right now. I'd expect to see some defensive changes, possibly shift to a 3-2 defense zone. That would address the 3-point ball better. And they also still have size underneath, so they can give. They're going to be able to give up a little bit of manpower defensively because Stewart and Bernstein will be able to hold it down.
Curious, though, if the loss of Deturley and McLaren could be stepping in here, because Deturley was an excellent defender out at the perimeter. Shutting down shots without him is a little bit more challenging.
Jumbo's back in the man. Liam Kennelly on the floor alongside Quinn Kane as the 2 guards. Brido, cross, jumper, left is short. And a big board for Scott Jamesi, who then gets fouled. And that's one thing the Owls do not want to be doing.
5 fouls, 9 minutes into the half. Not a recipe success. That'll put the Jumbos in the bonus the rest of the way.
Certainly a stat line that is not as positive on the Owls side. James Maracas coming back in for Sidney Wooten.
Kennelly going to take it up here. The primary ball handler now. Maracas, Stewart. Pass comes back to Kennelly. He kicks it to Quinn Kane. Stewart. That's a kicked ball if I've ever seen one.
I think that was one of the most blatant kicks we've seen, is Johnson really using his entire body to block off the pass going through. Fortunately, you can't use that part of your body to do that.
The Jumbos are going to go big here, checking in 6'8" Truman Gettings, along with Bernstein checking back in. A matchup nightmare for the Owls. We'll see what the Jumbos can do on the offensive side.
Gettings cuts right to the hoop. Denied, but they're going to get a foul. And that seems like a tough call against Chaikin.
That's his second already. The guy who we'd mentioned going to this game as someone who needs to stay out of foul trouble, already on 2.
He's only been in for about 3 minutes.
It's got to feel unfortunate on that one, though, as it did seem like he had a good, clean block on Gettings, but not quite enough there.
Gettings averaged only 3 points last year, appearing in 14 games before he was hurt. The year before that, he was able to play 28 games, starting 27, averaging 8 points and 5 rebounds.
That year before, the Jumbos did like to run that 2-big lineup where they would have Bobby Stewart and Truman Gettings on the court. At this point now, they got Truman Gettings and Josh Bernstein. But still, having those 2 bigs against this smaller Keene State team should be interesting to keep an eye on. But the defensive side is where the question arises, because we saw Bobby Stewart struggling to guard out on the 3-point line. Jumbos immediately bringing a press.
Yeah, they're in the zone, the 3-2.
Just
like you mentioned. Odiasi flashes. Around it goes. Corner 3, Johnson. Denied on a good contest there from Josh Bernstein.
Didn't quite work out. That was a great way to exploit the zone, going to the middle, going to the sides, passing around quickly, making it challenging for the Jumbos.
Dangerous pass. Brido picks it off, and he's going to put on a show.
Well, we highlighted it in the pregame. This team is going to look to jump the lanes. They're willing to jump the lanes for a turnover to get out in transition, even if it means they'll give up an easy bucket once in a while. This team averages 27 points off turnovers a game. That's about a third of the points they score. They're going to continue to do that. Jumbos need to be careful with their passes.
Kennelly, open 3. Yes!
And there's the downside of that strategy. They had 3 on Bernstein trying to get the ball from him, and that left Kennelly open, allowing him to get that open 3.
You might be able to get away with putting 2 on Bernstein. You put 3 on him, he's going to find the open man.
Jumbos go back into man defense now.
Kennelly becoming a pest. 5 to shoot now. Brido, two-man game. Odiasi gonna have to shoot it. Puts it up over Bernstein, and a bailout foul.
Not a good foul. You play 25 seconds of good defense. That doesn't mean anything if you play 5 seconds of bad defense. You got to play the whole 30. Jumbo's got 25 of the 30, and that's going to end up with 2 shots for the Owls.
That'll be Bernstein's first foul of the game. That's something we did mention coming to this game. If Bernstein can stay out of foul trouble, that would be very strong for the Jumbos. He only has 1 in this first 10 minutes, but those definitely can accumulate fast if he's not careful.
First one left short by Odiasi. And Jumbo's really going to go big. Out will go Quinn Kane. In will go John Medley, which means Jumbo's going to have 4 players at least 6'4" on the floor.
Now, the Owls are an exceptional shooting, free throw shooting team. 83% from the line. Odiasi actually on the lower end of all the Owls players, just shooting at a 70% clip as he makes 1 of 2. But if the Owls get to the line, they're going to score.
That's how to win these close games against these good teams. If you can hit your free throws, if you can get those points on the board when you can, that can make the difference. Because last year, this game went down to 2 points. So an extra free throw or 2 could be the deciding factor here.
Good man defense here from the Owls. 10 to shoot with Maracas. Backing down, Co. Pulls up from the mid-range. No. Offensive board saved by Kennelly.
Great hustle. That's exactly what Kennelly brings to the table.
Gets to the rack, gets fouled, and he'll shoot 2.
Great take. Got down the hill, had his defender a little bit off balance after he went for the steal on the pass, as I mentioned before. Able to get downhill, had his defender on his back hip, drawed the contact, he'll shoot 2.
Liam Kennelly's show in that last play, getting both the hustle play and drawing the foul. Can he capitalize on the points he could get here?
Crowd starting to fill in here on this Wednesday evening, making some noise.
Pretty good crowd, all things considered. Top 25 matchup, non-conference between the NESCAC and the LEC. Doesn't get much better than this for D3 non-conference action.
It doesn't. A first ever trip to Cousins for this Keene State squad. It was not the Cousins Gymnasium the last time they were here back in 2010.
And the last time they did win here was quite a while ago. I believe that was 2001, the last time they got a win in Medford. So they'll be looking to change that fast.
That's an interesting stat. I think I got one even more interesting, though. Keene State has 10 wins in the last decade against ranked teams. They have not won a single one of those in Keene. Open 3, Jean-Baptiste. Yes, sir.
Defensive lapse on the Jumbo's front. You saw the whole bench pointing to that far side corner. Baptiste wide open, one of their fifth-year captains, actually. If you leave him open, he's going to cash in every time, as will most of the players on this team.
Medley gets the handoff from Gettings. Drives left. Through contact. No. Rebound going to stay with the Jumbos. That is a blatant missed call.
That looked like Gettings swatted the ball into Medley's hands. Jumbos got off very lucky there.
They're going to flip this call.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, that's a correct call.
You know it's the right call when Brandon Litton isn't even making a protest.
One thing I've noticed early from the Owls, they're fighting over these screens incredibly well, giving the Jumbos a lot of trouble with their dribble handoffs. And they use these dribble handoffs to get into their sets a lot of the time. That's why they've had a lot of trouble getting into their sets. A lot of their looks have come off of kind of fast break or one-on-one play.
Odiasi's 3 left short, but the offensive rebound is Seau. Aronson tried the step back. Truman Gettings having none of it. Brido. And he just went around Josh Bernstein in midair.
Despite the massive height advantage the Jumbos have, the Owls have done a great job getting to the glass, getting opportunities, getting those layup chances. Just going through Bernstein like they do there, going around, stretching the defense and finding chances.
Medley around the screen. Back to Gettings. Free throw line. Gets the roll.
Good look just inside the free throw line. Get that floater. That's a high percentage look for Getting. Gets that left-handed finish and the nice touch off rim.
Now Gettings all the way out to defend Brido. Switch there. Pull up 3. Rims out, but another offensive rebound for the Owls. Brido with the cross. Kicks it. Jean-Baptiste fools Bernstein floater. In and out, and Maracas skies for the board.
And they have Bernstein and Gettings on Brido and Baptiste early. So that gives the Jumbos height difference. But I'll tell you, being here, you can see the quickness of Brido and Baptiste. They're a lot quicker than these Jumbo bigs. I'd look to see them switch that matchup. That doesn't favor the Jumbos at all.
They're definitely playing off of this man defense very well, finding opportunities in the paint, which we didn't really expect coming in. But with the Jumbos being stretched like this, they're getting themselves opportunities.
I thought they had success in that 3-2 defense a couple of possessions ago, but they went into that once. Got to stop. They did get an offensive rebound that time, but they haven't gone back into it. They've stuck in man, and the Owls have had a lot of success when the Jumbos are in man.
Aronson with the drive. Turnarounds. Oh, come on.
Wow.
I feel like Jamesi did everything right there, but Aaron still hits the basket.
That is an incredibly tough fadeaway jumper. Jamesi was all over him, hand and face. That's a high-level D1 shot right there.
That is, and that is a really bad foul from Joshua Williams. 50 feet from the basket, and he's going to send Kennelly to the free throw line.
Joshua Williams from Charlotte, North Carolina, as I mentioned earlier, one of the many transfers on this Owls roster, transferred from Flagler College in Florida, where he didn't see much playing time, looking to see an uptick in playing time and production now that he's with Keene in New Hampshire. Big climate change from Florida to New Hampshire.
It's actually Connecticut, but
Brido.
no, never mind. You are right on that one.
And the finish there from Odiasi. Litton calling out a play. Eerily similar to the first half of this game a year ago. Riley around the flare. Back to Medley. Bernstein screaming for it. Gonna get it with 10. Spins. Draws the double. Skip pass. Jamesi able to save it for a second. It's on the floor. And a tie-up called. Possession arrow in favor of Keene.
Great work defensively from the Owls, as they've done all day. They're being very pesky on the defensive end. Bernstein having a lot of trouble with his handle, especially when he gets doubled. Put himself in a difficult spot where the baseline really acted as a third defender there. And the Jumbos are going to go back into a 3-2 zone, as I noted earlier, trying to avoid the three-point shot.
Skip pass. Jean-Baptiste cuts. Kicks. Aronson pull up. Doesn't get it that time. And the Jumbos are going to look to run. Kennelly slows things down. Drives left. Gets a step. Crosses back. Drops his man. And finishes off glass.
Kennelly, the leading scorer for the Jumbos. He has 7. He's been firing on all facets so far for the Jumbos. As they turn it over, they'll try and get the momentum going back their way.
And a whistle blown. Not quite sure what it was.
Seems like an officiating mistake. But something I've noticed early, Riley, is the quickness of this Keene State team. They really do not match up size-wise, but they are much quicker than the Jumbos. And I think one reason Kennelly's been having a lot of success so far is he's quick. This is a guy, he could fit on this team. He's probably the only player on the Jumbos that would truly fit into the scheme of the Owls. He matches their playing style and their energy, and I think he's going to have a lot of success tonight.
Bernstein.
Quickness. The Keene State Owls got back so fast when Kennelly was breaking. It looked like he might have a chance to get a fast break point, but the whole defense was back before another Jumbo was back.
Great feed from Kennelly to Jamesi.
Kennelly once again creating. I think that's his second assist to go along with 7 points.
But what that comes from is Josh Bernstein keeping the ball up and making the skip pass from altitude. Williams' floater finds the net. Keene State lead back up to 6.
That'd be Williams' first points of the night, actually. Despite having a pretty big impact as his first time getting on the board.
Screen and roll, of course it goes.
That's the 4th floater for Jamesi that he's gotten in the fall. He's having a 100% success rate from that shot, and he's getting that off the pick and roll because the Owls are dropping defensively.
Odiasi answers on the other end. A phenomenal offensive game so far. Both teams shooting above 55%.
We'd like to see Bernstein be a little bit stronger on the defensive front there.
Jamesi to Bernstein. Finishes with authority.
Sounds like it'll be a Keene timeout after a situation like that. Hard to really reassert momentum after you've been dunked on with your entire team surrounding the player who did it. So it makes sense that Keene would want to really regain their composure at this point.
And the Jumbos are starting to live above the rim as they should. They have height. We highlighted it maybe 10 times already. We're going to continue to highlight it. There's a team, they're going to have success today. They're going to live above the rim.
Surprisingly, though, it's only a 4-point differential in the points in the paint. Jumbos with 24, Keene with 20. So we talked about this going in, about how the Jumbos were going to run things up in the paint, how Keene State was going to take those 3-point shots. But really, it hasn't been that different. Keene State has 2 more 3-pointers than the Jumbos, but on 10 attempts, the Jumbos 4. And 4 points in the paint. So it's been a really close game and not quite as divided in terms of the point scoring as we may have expected going in.
That's surprising. I think the lack of three-point shooting is kind of surprising. Keene only taking 10. They're averaging 32 a game. Jumbo's averaging 21 a game in attempts. They've only taken 4 in 16 minutes.
I'd imagine it's got to be a directive from Coach Linton. They know they can go to the boards. They know they can pressure from inside the paint. So they may not be looking to shoot as much since they know they have that advantage. But it isn't working quite as well as they might have wanted it to.
Well, you say that, and everything statistically would have indicated that. But then you look at the rebound metrics, and Keene State's out-rebounding the Jumbos.
Not what I had on my bingo card coming into this game. Jumbos are going to need to dominate on glass.
I think that's really more of a symptom of the Jumbo's defense being a bit disorganized at this point, rather than anything else, because there are even defensive rebounds. Keene leading with 1 more offensive rebound. So it's not been a massively out-rebounded game, but I think the Jumbos have had a few moments of disorganization on the defensive side, which have allowed Keene to get those rebounds.
The problem is they're not nearly as quick as the Owls, and that's leaving them disorganized defensively, but then also on the defensive rebound front.
Kennelly in with the starters in place of in place of Jamesi.
It's Maracas actually he's in place of, but he's really earned his spot here as he's been the leading light for the Jumbos.
Medley, fake the corner 3, now going to drive, and that is ooh. You think that's the right call. Definitely contact was led by Medley. The question is, was it inside the restricted area?
It looked like he was 100% in the restricted area to me. I believe he had both feet planted inside the restricted area, not giving Medley a safe place to land.
Yeah, it's a tough one, and that's what nothing you can do but just wonder. And tough for John Medley, because that was a really nice finish.
Yeah, first beating his man on the pump fake and getting the layup attempt up, but I think it's a good defensive play if it was correct.
See how with the and one, Bernstein can't believe it. He said he didn't touch him.
Certainly looked like his hand didn't touch him. It might have been a body check there. Hard to tell, but Bernstein definitely getting a little bit unlucky there.
What a momentum shift. This has the potential to be a 6-point swing. See how I was able to cash in this free throw. Goes to say how important physicality is, how important it is for Bernstein to be smart defensively.
Keene State coaching staff at the scorer's table with a question about the foul count as Kennelly brings it back up. Ciao on him. Jamesi now. Into Bernstein. Double comes immediately. Against Johnson. Picks it up. And referee got in the way there. 3-on-1 for Keene State. Jean-Baptiste denied. Oh, come on.
Wow.
Medley flying over the back there, trying to get the block. It looked like he made contact clearly with the ball, but referee says otherwise. Coach Linton, the similar question.
Yeah, that one looked pretty cut and dry that he at least got ball before he got man, if he got man at all.
Tough call. Medley gets a high five from Coach Linton. He knows what the right call there was, and it probably was not made. Jean-Baptiste, a member of the 1,000-point club for Keene State. He averages 14 points per game, shoots an astounding 86% from the free throw stripe.
Looking to add to it here. Keene State looking to push their lead back up to 9. Will be their highest on the day. And it goes.
Jumbo's once again having trouble with the Owl press.
Last 2.5 minutes of this first half going to be very important in the outcome of this game. Getting catches up top. Maracas through some contact, spins, lowers an elbow, and that is a charge.
Jumbo is just really struggling to get anything to fall their way at this point. That one seemed like a pretty clear-cut charge, but Jumbo's several fouls in a row. It's 2 possessions in a row where they had a good 3 possessions in a row where they've had a turnover either by a foul or misplaced pass. And in a game where the offense has been so effective on both sides, that's how you get into a rut. That's how you start being down by 9 like they are right now. It could stretch to more after this possession.
Blakey in for the first time for the Owls. Around the Brido screen. Crossed himself up. Now Brido drops, step back! Left is short. That could have been a highlight reel. Jamesi into Gettings against Johnson. Lowers the shoulder. Floater, yes sir.
Need that. Need a lot more of that from Gettings, Stewart, Bernstein. That's a great look. High percentage floater. Got the left hand going there.
Brido gets around Jamesi, who will commit the foul, and he'll go to the line 1-1.
You really don't want to be in the bonus with this team. Brido, another high percentage free throw shooter, shooting.
He actually came up with the same clip as John Baptiste.
85.7%.
12 for 14 coming in. Jean-Baptiste now up to 14 for 16 of the season. Brido has the chance here to tie him yet again.
$124 to go. An important 124 coming for the Jumbos. Being down 10 versus being down 4 going to the half is big. And you know what? I can tell you, being here in Cousins, looking at these 2 benches, you can tell the energy level. You can tell who's winning pretty clearly. The Owls are loud. They're all over the place. They're playing with energy. They're having fun. The play style that suits them best. Jumbo bench has been quiet for the most part of the game.
Jumbo's definitely showing signs of fatigue on that bench. Brido gets them both. Lead back up to 9.
Chaikin will check back in.
Jumbo should go right at him.
2 fouls. Yep.
Full court press on for the Owls. Inbound to Jamesi, handoff Wooten. Riley now picks up his dribble, gets it to Wooten. Around the getting screen, screen and roll. Wooten pulls up, doesn't get it, but it's going to tip out to Maracas.
Looked like there was some contact there from the Owls that they got away with.
Maracas drives, kicks. Wooten corner 3. No. Riley skied for the board, and it's going to stay with the Jumbos.
And the Jumbos are starting to crash the offensive glass the way they should have been from the tip. They're going to have a lot of success if they keep sending 3 or 4 guys on glass every time.
If the Jumbos time this right, they can get a 2-for-1 here to end the first half. Riley comes flying around the screen.
They got to go quick if they want this 2-for-1.
Wooten. Around the screen, and a charge called on Jamesi, who cannot believe it. Neither can Brandon Linton.
You saw him lean the shoulder in there. Probably a little bit too physical. Doesn't help that the man that he's screening is almost a foot shorter than him.
That's another possession where the Jumbos have lost the ball due to a foul or turnover. And now Jumbo's a bit in foul trouble as well, as Medley, Jamesi, and Bernstein all on 2 fouls.
Cross there from Blakey. Owls trying to get a 2-for-1 themselves. Blakey, that is a travel.
Sort of washes out the turnover the Jumbos just had there as not a good play there for Blakey.
Chaikin coming back in for defensive purposes here. Imperative that the Jumbos actually get a good look on this possession. Riley comes off the flare. Free throw line, Jay, no. Offensive rebound, and 1 for Zion Watt.
Welcome to the game. Zion Watt just came in and able to get the and 1. The sophomore getting on the board immediately.
We see Enright is absolutely fuming on the Keene State bench. Unacceptable. With less than 30 seconds to go, you got to box out. But like we've highlighted on the last possession and now this one, crashing offensive glass again. Watt brings height to a position that the Owls lack. He'll shoot 1 to try and cut the Owl lead to 6. Then they'll try and get a stop and go into the half, with this being only a 2-possession game.
Kennelly back in for defensive purposes as Watt gets the free throw. Cuts the Owls lead to 6.
Owls have time for a full possession here. Shot clock off.
Jumbo's back in the man. Seow against Wooten. Content to dribble out a lot of the clock. Around the screen now. Not interested in shooting yet. Brido with 10. Kicks it. Aronson. No. Bouncing around. Wooten. Lot of contact. And that's how the first half comes to an end. The Jumbos get back in it towards the end. And we look at these stats, and one of the best offensive halves of basketball we've seen in a long time. Keene State shooting 53%, giving them a 6-point lead, despite the fact the Jumbos are shooting 57% from the field. And I mean, boys, your thoughts before we go to the break?
Just on that last play, I feel like Keene would have been really excited. They got the ball to their 3-point specialist, Aronson, who had a pretty clean look, but unable to get that through. But if that hit fell, gotta think we'd be talking a lot differently. As a 9-point lead to a 6-point lead looks a lot different going into the half.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the difference has been turnovers, and I highlighted this earlier. Points off turnovers. The Jumbos are shooting at a higher percent clip. The reason they're not winning is because they're not getting off as many shots. The reason they're not getting off as many shots is because they're turning the ball over.
8 turnovers for the Jumbos to 2 for Keene State.
Yeah,
And that's a damning number there.
and the Jumbos only average 11 turnovers per game. They're at 8 already. They're on pace to have 16 turnovers a game, and the Owls get 26.5 points per game off turnovers.
Both teams on pace to match their season average in scoring. We'll see if that holds true in the second half. We'll be back in about a dozen with half number 2. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back here to Cousins Gymnasium. And what looks to be an enthralling second half to come. 45-39 in favor of the visitors here. And I guess the question I'll start with is for you, Harrison. It almost feels like this is a different Keene State team, the way they're not as willing to shoot from deep right now.
They've actually had a lot of success in the paint so far. They've driven a lot. I mean, a lot of what they do is kick and drive. Tufts is so expecting this three-point shooting. They're closing out hard. That's opening up the lanes for them to drive every time. They've had a lot of open looks, and that's how they've gotten a lot of jumbos into foul trouble, because when they drive, they know how to draw contact. They go to the line. They shoot it at a high clip from there.
They've really exploited this Jumbo's man defense as they've been playing, like you said, they've done a lot of kick and drive. They've been moving the ball around really fast, making it so the Jumbos are not expecting where the ball is going to come next, allowing those open lanes into the net, into the paint, and allowing them to get those layups. We've seen from Brido, we've seen from Odais, we've seen a lot of really well-executed plays from this Keene State side.
Yeah, I'd imagine that this is about the quickest team that the Jumbos will see all year, so they're going to have to make some adjustments. I look to see more of Kennelly down the line. He had a lot of success in that first half. He matches up with this Owl team really well. So we'll see what personnel matchups he goes with down the line.
Kennelly was very effective in that first half. Another player who was as well was Truman Gettings. Jumbo's a +3 with Gettings on the floor, -9 with him off it. Interestingly, for this Keene State team, all of their starters in the positive, in the plus-minus, with the exception of Wesley Odiasi, who is a -5 on the day. Medley around the Bernstein screen. Lowers the boom, and a charge called. And that's his third.
I don't like that call personally.
Just to note, Medley's 3 fouls have been a charge on a dribble in, a block that was called
A charge.
and then another charge. So
2 of which I think could have gone the other way very easily.
he's certainly been unlucky.
And he's taking it well. He's maintaining his composure.
Siao gets the floater, rebound, missed, and Jamesi skies for the board.
That's a point Blake missed. That's about as open of a shot you're going to get in the game today.
Maracas around the Jamesi screen. Jamesi trying to get it inside, does against Aronson. Kicks out, Maracas 3-ball. Left is short.
Really would have liked to see that fall, get some momentum, going Tufts' way out of the start.
As you mentioned, suddenly it's a 3-point game. It's a 1-possession game if that falls.
Screen and roll, ball on the floor. Odiasi floater, no. And that just gets stuck. It will go to Keene State on the possession arrow.
Not something you see every day there.
But once again, we see Bernstein not even pressing out outside of the restricted area defensively. He's standing so close to the hoop. It gets to a point where anything in the paint, if a Owl guard beats their defender, will be a wide open look. I would look to change that mindset up defensively.
Dangerous pass, but the Owls able to save it. Around it goes. Siao cuts through 2. Tries to kick to it, but he sends it right to the front row.
It was a great idea there from Sio. He knew Aronson would be in space, but miscommunication there as Aronson was in the corner while Sio was trying to hit it out to a different part of the line.
Maracas with the fancy handles up top. Picks up his dribble. Says, I'll just play the height advantage. Riley around the flare. Into Jamesi now.
He's got size and weight.
And he's trying to use it with the hook.
He's got that hook. He's got that floater. This guy lives inside when he gets those looks, especially as a smaller guard. He's going to have a lot of success.
Give and go. Odiasi. Great finish.
And Bernstein got knocked back and just kind of stayed there, not pressing back out on ASA, giving him that space for the pretty open look.
And in my mind, Bernstein hasn't been nearly physical enough.
Jamesi 3-ball.
But you know who is going off? Scott Jamesi. First Jumbo on double-digit points. He's up to 14 now. And when he gets those threes to fall, hard to stop a player of his caliber.
Brido tries to answer. No. And Bernstein with the board. Outlet pass. John Medley. Oh, that is a foul. What a play, though, by Brido.
I heard the contact all the way up here. But you got to give these Owls credit. Owls players credit. Looked like Medley had a wide open basket. They're going to force him to earn it at the stripe.
Brido type of player who's not afraid to get a little bit dirty. 2 technical fouls in the last 2 games, so he'll be trying to stay off that, have that not become a streak for him.
Yeah, that is a foul that Brido more than willing to take. You turn what would have been a dunk into 2 free throws.
Momentum definitely shifts as well. Dunk is much bigger than 2 free throws for that.
Medley last year an 85.7% free throw shooter. This year he'll be 70. This year he's fallen to 78%. In a much smaller sample size, I'd expect that to go up, as I will with this three-point shooting, although he's yet to take a three today.
Brido trying to get his bench to make some noise while Medley's at the line. They don't seem interested as he hits them both.
I think with regards to that three-point shooting, I think he's been used in a slightly different role this season, though.
Yeah.
He's moved into that 2-3 role where he's been playing more, where last year he did get a little bit more play at the 1. So slightly less 3 opportunities.
Does not go for Jean-Baptiste. Maracas with the board, and that's a foul on Aronson.
And the momentum was completely swung in the Jumbo's direction there. But within 1 point, shots just are not falling for the Owls side. And Jumbo's with a chance here on this possession to take the lead for the first time in a very long time.
Maracas and Jemesi, 2-man. Now Riley, flare to the corner. Jumbo lead.
Needed it, got it. Huge shot. They've tried that wraparound screen all day for Riley. First time they got him an open look. This time he cashes in.
And Riley is the 3-point shooter for this Jumbo side. He wears the number 3. He takes the threes.
Aronson closed out by Bernstein there. And the Jumbo's starting to go.
We mentioned Bernstein having a slower start to the half, but he's really feeling himself now. Block there, driving in, and a points as well. Bernstein coming alive here as Jumbo's take a 4-point lead.
And the Jumbo's bench loved that one.
What a Euro there from Odiasi. And a Keene State timeout as Steve Enright not happy with his team as they have given up a 12-4 run to start this second half. And the Jumbos with their largest lead of the day as of 30 seconds ago before that layup by Odiasi.
And that does change the outlook drastically, as that was a great play from Odiasi. A good response to the Jumbo's streak they had going and able to calm this storm. So they go in the timeout with a little bit cooler heads. They know they can get back into this, and they just hit their shots, which they had been doing for a long time up to this point. You imagine they'll be able to keep this game as close as it has been.
You really like to see the assignment changes coming out of the half from Linton. They've gone into a 3-2 defensively. Bernstein's had a lot more success, although I still want to see him take his physicality to another level, because then he'll truly be dominant. Sometimes it kind of looks like he's letting the game come to him instead of taking the game into his own hands. But overall, really strong start out of the half for the Jumbos, and that's a testament to the great coaching that this team has.
Those were Dylan Riley's actually first points of the game, which are a bit surprising for a player who averages 10 points a game, but if he can get back up to his normal scoring output, that would help the Jumbos a lot.
He's only taken 3 shots on the day, which is a really surprising number for someone who is quite trigger happy. Bernstein catches up top. Now Medley. Riley comes off the screen, trying to get it down low to Jemesi. Will do so with 10. Against Brido, and that's going to be a block.
You saw him leaning his body in. You can't do that. You can take the contact. You can't initiate the contact defensively.
Brido knows what Jemesi wants to do there. He wants to get in. He wants to do that float shot that he always does.
Third foul already on the Owls. We're just 3.5 minutes into the second half here.
More importantly, that's a third personal on Octavio Brido, who's going to take a seat.
And he's their best player by far.
Worth noting that in the first matchup, he only put up 4 points and fouled out. So if he has a night like that, that's definitely not what the Owls would want to see.
Bernstein catches down low, goes to work. High finish off glass for 2.
Great footwork. He's starting to find his groove now. Matching up with Odiasi. He has 7 inches on him. He's going to be able to work around it and get a good look every time.
That time stands his ground, grabs the board.
Great job.
Outlet to Medley.
Great job going straight up there. Need more of that.
Medley, extra pass, Maracas, and the Jumbos are flying.
So well done for Medley. He saw Maracas coming. He had the little misstep on the dribble, but able to just find Maracas with space, get the basket, and the Jumbos are up 6.
16-2 start to the half for the Jumbos. Aronson 3.
Oh, man.
And that's what Keene State need now.
Wow.
They need those lucky rolls in order to really get themselves back in the right headspace going into this next stretch, as they seemed very flustered in that last stretch. But a 3-pointer like that can help rejuvenate you.
Maracas gets the legs taken out from under him. 5-on-2 the other way. Jean-Baptiste. And you have to say that's a blown opportunity for Keene State.
Not many teams take a transition 3. That's more of an NBA thing, especially at the college level. Keene State, very unique. They're going to take the transition 3 over a transition 2 every time.
ODSC, and we're tied again.
And this is what this Keene State team can do. They can hit those threes. They can get themselves back in the game so quickly. Down by 6, seemingly everything going against them. Suddenly, 2 3-pointers, and they're tied.
Medley looking like a receiver out there. Down low to Jamesi. Spins. Blocked. Gets it right back with 10. Up top. Medley 3-ball. In and out. And looks like Aronson was out. That ball's on the turf. And eventually it's going to be corralled by Chalkin.
Style making a great play.
They need to stop play. Keene State beyond upset, but Jamesi down in some pain, and the referee's right to stop play there.
Holding his head, not a good sign for the Jumbos.
We're going to step aside momentarily, be back in a moment. And we're back here on JumboCast, even at 55, as Scott Jamesi gonna take a seat with what looks to be a injury.
Although he got up, he seems to be fine. Gettings will check in for him. He had a lot of success in the post game, working with that left hand early. Kent.
We apologize for that momentary technical difficulty. As you were saying, Harrison.
Yeah, Getting checked in, but also Kennelly is checked in, both of whom had a lot of success. The Jumbos will go with 2 bigs. Now trying to outsize the Owls.
Johnson from deep does not go. And the Jumbos grab the board. We'll see how the double big lineup works offensively.
Once again, fighting over the screen, unable to get the dribble handoff.
That one on the floor. Everyone's fighting for it. Kennelly's down, and eventually it comes to Spencer Aronson. See how flying gets around one, does not get past, but doesn't care. How did that go in?
Oh,
That'll be Josh Bernstein's 3rd foul of the night as well. But what a shot there.
he put that in over the 6'11" Bernstein and the 6'8" Gettings. That's a very high-level take from a high-level player in Nate Seau.
He's got less than a foot on. Bernstein has more than a foot on Seau, standing at 5'8", but still able to clinically put it against the glass and get the basket.
Seau, a 87.5% free throw shooter, another Owl free throw shooter who lives above 80%.
Owls on a 9-0 run since the Jumbos stretched the lead to 6. Bobby Stewart back in the game for the Bows and gets called for a walk.
And that's just not something the Jumbos can afford to have in a game like this where it's so tight, where every possession matters. Having those simple mistakes are just costing them. We saw this in the first half really bite them. We haven't seen them as much in the second half, but if that recurs again, that's not a good sign for the Bows.
Seau against Wooten. That was way off, and the Jumbo's going to run. Kennelly. Jean-Baptiste forces him baseline, and he'll reset the offense. Screen and roll with Stewart. Kennelly drops his man, crosses back, but can't get the roll.
Great flurry of moves from Kennelly there, unable to execute the easiest part.
Brido just lost his handle completely, gets it back, 3-ball, doesn't go.
Brido is now 0 from 6 from behind the arc, so not a good sign for him.
Great backdoor feed. That is foul number 4 on Octavio Brido. And all of a sudden, the Jumbos just forced the Owls' best player off the floor once again.
Not smart defense from Brido at all there. He knows the role he plays for this Owls team, especially on the scoring front. 4 fouls. I'd imagine we won't see him until maybe the 7-6 minute mark, unless Coach Enright is willing to take that risk. And if he is, the Jumbos will go right at him defensively. So overall, Not a great play from Brido. And you see Enright talking to him on the bench, giving him a good coach's talk. He knows what he did wrong.
Good sign for the Jumbos as Scott Messi is ready to check back in. Jumbo's leading scorer in this game. It'd be really good to have him back in the court. Bobby Stewart will check back out. Chaikin also checks back in, who subs out. We talked about him being in foul trouble in the game. He's still only on 2, so he's definitely much less foul trouble than the man he checked in for, Octavio Brido.
Everyone went early, but it doesn't matter because Truman Gettings gets them both.
Lane violations have stopped, are not called in today's game anymore at all.
That is very true. Jumbo's back in the 3-2 in a 1-point game. Seau looking for someone. Gets it to Anderson. Around it goes. Jean-Baptiste. And that is out of bounds.
That's a brutal mistake for the Owls. As when those turnovers happen, we mentioned for the Jumbos on that walk play, but stepping out of bounds is just such a costly mistake where they lose the ball, lose the possession. Jumbos have a chance to take the lead yet again.
And I mentioned that earlier, using the sideline or baseline as an extra defender. Usually you don't want to get put in that type of spot offensively.
Great pass. Jamesi not able to finish, but he'll stay with the Jumbos.
Jamesi will be ruining that one. He beat his defender and had a pretty free look, but unable to put it away.
And he looked up to the ceiling of Cousins, wondering how he missed that open look, about as open of a shot he'll get all year.
Gettings on the catch. Wooten around the screen. Down low to Jamesi. Off glass for the lead.
What a scheme. What a scheme. That's almost unguardable when executed right. Great call from Linton. Off the baseline. Entry pass.
And Jamesi able to put that one away. He wasn't going to miss that twice.
You see Brido talking to his team. He's the only one standing on the bench trying to get his team going.
Driving kick. Jean-Baptiste with 10 to shoot. Skips to the corner. Johnson 3. Way long. And Jamesi with the one-handed board.
The Owls are really going to miss Brido.
Canelli. Come on!
11 for Canelli. An unexpected scoring outburst that the Jumbos really needed.
Johnson once again. Inside. Chaikin. Owls look lost with this zone. Floater from Williams. Gets the roll.
That's that second floater Josh Williams has gotten to go. He's found his shot. I'd expect to see more minutes for him down the stretch with Brido being in foul trouble.
Riley comes to collect. Down low, Jamesi, and again it works.
Jamesi on 18 points and 9 rebounds now. 1 rebound off of a double-double, something that the Keene State team very familiar with from Jeff Hunter last year, but would be an impressive performance from Jamesi. Alongside that, Liam Canelli is 1 point off of a career high tonight. 11 points he had last year against, I believe that was UMass Boston. Hoping to get this mark up against a different LEC opponent.
Josh Williams up to 6 points now.
Canelli spins, lefty, left is short, got his own board, and finishes for the career high.
Smallest man on the court gets his rebound amongst the bigs. Impressive work.
Chaikin, blocked by Jamesi, rebound to Riley. And he's going to go, that's a reach.
Another not smart foul.
That felt like a frustration foul there more than anything.
It did, but I don't necessarily agree that it's not a smart foul because I think if Dylan Riley gets around him there, he's going uncontested to the rack.
Yeah.
Bernstein going to re-enter along with Zion Watt for the Jumbos.
Watt, not many minutes in that first half, but a very impactful one, getting that and one right before the end of the half. So he'll be looking to build off of that.
Inside, Bernstein lowers the boom, and a walk called. Litton halfway onto the floor asking about the clamp. And the referees, as they have been all night, not interested in what either coach has to say.
He's been getting doubled underneath all night and has not had success handling the doubles.
Odiasi, Aronson around the screen. Watt on him. Odiasi now going to try and drive baseline. Up, under. Absolutely not. Jamesi. Going to slow things back down as the energy continues to build here in Cousins. Canelli Gets through some contact. He'll go to the line for 2.
Really smart play by Kennelly, forcing his way into Johnston and able to get the ball up quickly to draw the foul. Well played by just a really career night here for the sophomore.
Despite being so small, Kennelly has absolutely no fear attacking the hoop.
Thing is, though, Kennelly on this Keene State matchup would be one of the taller players in the
Yeah.
court in their starting lineup. So he's small for the jumbo standards, but at 6'1", he's still a sizable player on this court.
63% free throw shooter last year. Cashes in the first one. He'll have one more. Look to extend the jumbo lead to 6 as Medley checks back in.
Well, Harrison, you said 7 minutes when he went to the bench, but the way that this game is getting out of hand for Keene State, when do you think Coach Enbright looks to bring Octavio Brido back in?
I stand by 7 because you know that they're going to attack him defensively. You don't want this lead to get out of hand. But as coach, you got to trust in your players, trust that they can get you to that 7-minute mark. And when they do, you bring in the big guns, bring in Brido, and let a star player go to work.
I'm not sure about that. Just like removes a whole facet of their offense. I feel like they need him on the court.
Aronson, step back. No. And Medley skies for the board.
They're going to need more from Baptiste and Siao, who recently had a very tough and one, but they need more.
Bernstein catches high. Doesn't draw the double. Now it's going to come in the other side to Jamesi. Through some contact, he gets fouled. And the Jumbos will be shooting.
Yeah, the question is, at what point does the lead become insurmountable? 6 is definitely a mountain that can be climbed by the Owls. Brido stands up. He's not coming to the scorer's table now, though.
Kennelly checks out. Maracas checks back in.
Kennelly getting applause as he comes out, deservedly so. Crowd recognizing the contribution he's had tonight.
Got to imagine his night is not done. Jamesi gets the front half. He's got 19 to lead all scorers. Gets them both. He becomes the first player into 20s.
Still waiting that one rebound to put him at that double-double.
Jumbos lead at 8, their largest of the night.
Last time the Jumbos had a large lead, Keene State responded excellently with a 9-0 run. Can they do the same here?
Odiasi got away with a walk and a half. Johnson. Jean-Baptiste now. Trying to do something and gets the and one.
Needed it.
And Harrison, you mentioned with Brido off the court, they need their second top scorer, Jean-Baptiste, to step up. And step up he did there, making the and one play, getting himself on the board there. That'll put him at 9 points on the night.
I mean, this is a guy who averages 14 points a game. He's on pace for that right now, but I'm going to need more. Going to need more like 17, maybe even 20 from Baptiste today. The fifth-year captain, 6'0" guard from Lynn, Massachusetts. One of the few members of the 1,000-point club for the Keene State Owls.
Keene State calls timeout with the Jumbos having a 5-point lead. One thing that happened while Jean-Baptiste was at the line, John Medley had to check out. He's also on 4 fouls. So both teams with some of their best players in foul trouble with a 5-point game. I wonder, with the timeout call by Enright, does he think about bringing Brido back in right now?
I think you have. Well, we can see from our vantage point, and you guys can too on your screen, that number 3, Octavio Brido, is not in the huddle. That means that if he's not sitting on that bench, he's probably. Oh, well, they got no one sitting on the bench, so hard to say if he'll come back in right now. But 8:25,
And there
maybe
he
a
comes.
little early.
Back
Yeah,
on the
he's
court,
back.
Looks like.
Well,
Not to number 6 though. Could be
he's just being a captain right now. He's being a great leader, as he has been all game. He wants this win. He knows he can't be on the court, and that's his own fault. He'll be back on shortly, I'd imagine, at the 7-minute mark.
Jumbo's 5, Jamesi, Maracas, Bernstein, Riley, and Zion Watt. Keene State gonna drop into a zone a little bit here. Jumbo's just used height to pass it around.
Maracas really hasn't gotten on the scoring front, gotten going on the scoring front. He only has 6 today. Averages about 19.
Change that. He's got 9.
Well, Harrison, I think you should talk about several other players struggling to get on the board. It's they might be able to get some points up as well. Aronson also has struggled, notably. He's on 9, but is only 1 for 5 from the 3-point line, unable to hit that clinicalness that we often see from him.
Drives, trying to turn on one. Extra feed to Odiasi for 2.
Great offense from the Owls. They're able to move the ball efficiently and quickly underneath the basket, which is a very difficult thing to do, especially with the size the Jumbos have.
Really smart, because 2 opportunities there where they could have gone to the basket instead of opting for the extra pass, finding a man with a better look.
Knocked out of Maracas' hands. Will stay with the Jumbos.
We're at the 7:25 mark now. I do not see Brido coming to the scorer's table just yet. We will let you know when he does, as he is that important of a player for the Owls and their chances to win this game.
Maracas backing down Jean-Baptiste. Up. And gets it.
And since Harrison and Maracas has struggled, he has scored 5 points in a row. So he's definitely getting himself back on the board. Wonder if he heard you.
Odiasi with the reverse.
Odiasi has actually been the leading scorer for the Owls today. He has 19. He's picked up the slack. The problem is Brido is such a big scorer. They need more from their role players with him still out.
Sayo and Gettings ready to check in, but notably no Brido.
Skip pass. Riley corner 3. No. Jean-Baptiste whips it ahead. Odiasi gets a step on Bernstein. Can't get the and 1, but gets a 4th foul on Josh Bernstein.
And that's a big 4th foul. As we talked about the importance of Brido, but Bernstein's a big one as well.
My bad, actually. That is a 3rd team foul on Josh Bernstein.
Important distinction.
I thought it was the 4th as well, but
Yeah, nonetheless, he will sit. Gettings will check back in with 6.5 to go.
Gettings has had a strong game, only on 1 foul as well. So
Brido still on the bench.
a lot safer player on the court.
Gettings going to enter, as well as Siao. And Kennelly going to come back in right now.
Watt will sit. And you got to wonder, as these seconds continue to tick, once the ball's put back in play, Brido is going to get more and more antsy. I wonder what Enright has in mind. Maybe it's a time point or it's a lead point.
You don't know. You get the feeling it's soon. Full
Now
court defense on for the Owls.
They've reduced the Jumbo's advantage to 4. Certainly still anyone's game at this point.
Kennelly with the spin gets around Jean-Baptiste and through the double.
Owls do a good job of getting into their defense out of the press. Gettings at the top.
One thing this Owls team certainly cannot be accused of is not hustling hard enough.
That looked like it was tipped. Referee says no. And a turnover.
Costly one at that. Giving the momentum right back to the Owls. A Brido-less Owls at that.
Kennelly out there to deal with Siao. Jumbo's into the 3-2 themselves. Shaken. Extra pass. Odiasi. And that just rolls on the rim for 2.
Odiasi with 6 straight points for this Keene State team. Brido may not be in, but Odiasi is taking the team on his back and leading them into this game.
Jumbos need someone to do the same.
It has to be Maracas for me.
Here he is. Draws the foul, and he'll go to the line.
Good job creating, getting downhill.
He had a very similar play earlier this game where he got the charge, so does well there to not put too much force in, take the force instead, and get the foul.
Yeah, the difference this time is Maracas thought better than to lead with the elbow.
Yeah, the elbow was not the wisest play last time.
Gets the front end of the 1-and-1.
5:36 to go. Brido still sitting on that bench, anxiously waiting for the call to come back into this game. But I'd imagine Coach Enright likes what he's seeing from Odiasi in this squad right now. They've cut this lead down to 3, now 4, as Maracas cashes in on 2 of 2 free throws.
And the question begs on the other end, when do Medley and Bernstein come back in for Brendan Linton?
I don't even know if you necessarily have to bring Bernstein back in with the success Gettings has had.
Jean-Baptiste inside. Odiasi got away with the walk. Gettings grabs the board. It's bouncing, and it's jumbo ball.
Chaikin, unfortunately, they're doing a great hustle to get that ball even a chance for the Owls to get it, but the pressure from Canelli is a bit too much as he steps out of bounds.
Jumbo's going to run the stack again to try and get out of this full court press. And a pull, a really bad off-ball foul by Jean-Baptiste will send Liam Canelli to the line.
And that's something you can't afford as well. Another opportunity for 3 points for the Jumbos. And off the ball, pulling a player on an inbound, especially one of this side of the court, just feels pointless and not helpful.
And it's a big foul. It's the 9th, which means this is 1-1. But it does mean every foul from here on out will be 2 shots for the Jumbos.
Kennelly has 14.
Make it 15.
Canelli, one of 2 players to have missed a free throw on this Jumbos side so far. He is now 5 for 6, but he'll be hoping to further increase his percentage.
Canelli gets them both. 6 for 7 from the line. Lead back to 6. Siao. Shaken now to Jean-Baptiste. Aronson gonna drive. Pulls up from the free throw line and gets the roll once again. And a Keene State timeout. You've got to imagine with exactly 5 minutes on the clock that it is time for Octavio Brido.
Has to be, in my mind. Enright is calling a timeout. He's looking to get his guys back going again. They've cut this lead down to 4. They've done a really good job. In all honesty, they've done a really good job of staying in this game without their star player. So credit to Odiasi and the rest of that squad. But I would imagine that we'll see Brido coming out of this timeout here.
We talk about the Keene State offense a lot, but we haven't talked much about their defense. This is the most points they've allowed all season. It was 79. And there's 5 minutes left in the game, so it's really been an offensive battle tonight.
Well, I can tell you why they've let up 79 points. Because the Jumbos are shooting 59.5% from the field today, which is a beyond absurd number against a team the quality of Keene State.
The Jumbos certainly have been getting their shots to fall, but I feel like it's not necessarily been – it's been a lot of high percentage chances, though. We've seen those roll shots that Jamesi loves to do, and that's been a large part of his points he's accumulated. As well, they've got themselves in positions where they can take these good shots. I wouldn't say they've just been getting their shots to roll a little bit better than Keene State has. I think they've been setting themselves up well for those shots.
And Keene State, a team that has been really good from deep on the year, kind of putrid tonight. A total 5 for 22 from beyond the arc. And for a team that averages more than 10 three-pointers a game, to be sitting on 5 is probably not going to cut it.
That 22% three-point percentage is much lower than their 37% on the season coming to this tonight. So you can testament that some of that's the Jumbos defense, but a lot of it, they just got to get their shots to fall. They've had quite a few open looks. We saw Jean-Baptiste on that breakaway. We've seen Aronson with a few, but they just haven't been getting their shots to go in tonight.
Neither side made a substitution during the break. Jumbo's got to get it over, and that's a 10 count.
And that fires up Coach Enright exactly what they wanted to see coming out of the break. Poor execution from the Jumbos. You know, Linton doesn't like to see that.
It's poor execution from the Jumbos, but that's a mistake from Linton. You got 4 timeouts in your pocket. If your team can't get it over, call timeout.
Yeah. Still no Brido, and every second that passes by, we will continue to ask when we will see him.
Jean-Baptiste double comes on him. Now Odiasi against Gettings. The handles. Kicks it. Aronson, deep 3. In and out. And that's over the back.
Yep.
We'll send Scott Jamesi to the line for 2 more.
And that is the 3rd foul on Chaikin, who accumulated too quickly, but has not been booked for a good chunk there, but going to be sent to the line here.
And that's a especially bad foul because he did have the opportunity to grab that board without fouling him. He had the hops to do it. He just didn't time it right. And instead of getting a chance at potential second chance points, he sends Scott Gemessi to the line for 2.
And from now on, the Jumbos will be shooting 2 shots from the free throw line. That's a pretty monumental point as well, because as this game goes down, we imagine there's going to be quite a bit more fouling. So every time that happens, Jumbos getting 2 is certainly helpful for their side.
John Medley going to check in.
Also important to note the Owls aren't even in the bonus yet. The Jumbos have done an exceptionally good job of not fouling, playing defense with their feet, not with their hands. 4 team fouls so far.
Gemessi misses 1. Only the second missed free throw of the day for the Jumbos. Odiasi against Gettings. And Gettings going to get called for the foul on the floor.
And I jinxed it, because that's going to put them into the bonus. That's the 5th team foul.
Will not put them into the bonus.
Not put them into the bonus, but they'll be in the bonus from now on.
Bonus is 7 here on the guy's side. 2 more to go, but still a pivotal foul. And you wonder if that makes Brandon Linton think about putting Bernstein back in the game. Seow. Extra pass. Aronson. No. And a big rebound for Dylan Riley.
And important to note, number 3, Octavio Brido has checked back into the game with 4:15 to go. A little later than we thought he would, but you best believe he will stay in the rest of the game or until he fouls out. I'd look to see the Jumbos attack him. Right now he's matched up on Truman Gettings, who's sitting in the corner. He'll come to the top of the screen now.
Medley comes to get it with 10. Gonna run a screen and roll with Gettings. Draws the switch, handoff, Riley, 3! No, but Gemessi knocks it out, and Gettings able to grab it. In some trouble, and a reach-in foul. That's number 5, and a crazy...
No, they call that ODSA. It's not number 5.
Wow, okay. That was not who I saw reach in there.
Yeah, I saw the look of panic on Brido's face there. He takes a deep breath because he knows that foul call could have been on him.
Gettings will go back to the line where he's 6 for 6 on the night.
Gettings has provided a nice scoring boost for the Jumbos so far, providing 8 points. They'll look to add 1 more.
Interestingly, Spencer Aronson going to check out, as entering will be Mitch Shettles.
Check out for the first time in a while. He's played a lot of this second half.
Gettings misses them both.
It's a break for the Keene State team as they have a chance to get themselves a little bit close to this game.
Shettles, 3 balls good, and it's a 1-score game.
Right off, they've been missing from Aronson, who has been cold a bit from the 3-point line today. Uncharacteristically so, but Shettles comes in, immediately hits the 3 ball, and suddenly they're back in this game.
Having the confidence to shoot it right off.
Keene State asking for a walk, but that was very clearly a timeout called. And I think a T just came. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Keene State bench just got hit with a technical. We're going to see.
Might have been a warning. You might be right with the technical foul, though, because they were all over the court in ways that they are most definitely not supposed to be. Linton takes one of his 4 timeouts, still has 3 to work with, of which you'd like to see him use in the next 3.5.
You definitely would. Can't use them the way you might in the NBA, advancing the ball, but a big-time game, and we've been hyping it up for a couple weeks now, and it has more than delivered here on the Cousins floor tonight.
Certainly been a battle worthy of their top 20 status. Both these teams can very feasibly see going a bit far in this March Madness coming up in several months from here, but both teams that will have their eye on a deep postseason run this year. Both teams made Sweet 16 last year, so quality size here.
But both of these teams have the quality to end up in Fort Wayne at the Final Four.
Yep. And this is exactly what we expected down the line. Owls had a really strong first half, came out of the gates in the second half a little slow. Jumbos were able to take advantage of that. But 2 points difference between the 2 teams, 3.5 to go, exactly what we expected. Looking forward to an exciting finish.
One noteworthy statistic, though, the Jumbos are shooting 35% from the 3 line to 24% from Keene State, and that's a surprising statistic that we expected really the opposite coming into this game.
Keene State in a zone here. Kennelly inside, Gettings. Draws 2, puts it down, through some contact. He'll go to the line. Who are they going to get with that?
I think Brido was on the opposite side of the court, so
It'll be on Odiasi, his second.
impressive that Odiasi only has 2 fouls, especially because he's been matched up with Gettings and Bernstein and Stewart all day, all of which he's been undersized. He's actually done an exceptional job for the Owls.
I think that exceptional job from ODSA extends not only from the defensive side to the offensive side, leading this game with 25 points on the night. He has been phenomenal.
Truly has. Gettings gets the first. Gets them both that time. Jumbo's push the lead back up to 2 scores. Jean-Baptiste across the timeline gets a step. Getting straight up, denies him.
Great contest from Gettings.
And another foul from Jean-Baptiste. The Keene State bench enraged. The Jumbo's bench loving it.
And another frustration foul for the Owls. They've actually had a lot of those, a lot of
He's
fouls.
got to be careful, does Steve Enright. He doesn't get teed up right now.
Yeah, a lot of frustration fouls for the Owls all day. A lot of fouls 50-plus feet from the court that have given the Jumbos a lot of extra free points.
Can't blame Jean-Baptiste for being too frustrated, though. He was just shut down by Truman Gettings. Had a good chance, but unable to get to convert. And got to feel frustrated after making a good move around his man. Dylan Riley misses the first free throw. Not what the Jumbos need right now.
Keene State bench making some noise. Riley gets 1 of 2, lead up to 5. 3 minutes to play on the Cousins floor.
Brido yet to touch the ball in any of these possessions. Medley's been face guarding him, not letting him out of his sight.
Jean-Baptiste against Riley. Spins, turnaround, left is short.
I think that was blocked. Exceptional defense from Riley. It'll be Kennelly now to get them into their sets.
Back to a man from the Owls.
The Jumbos have a chance here to push this beyond a 2-score game, which would be crucial for them.
Gettings. Dribbling it up top, handoff Medley, and a reach called on Seau. And Steve Enright went for a run halfway into the wall.
And he knows he's close to being teed up. That's why he's not going to scream at the referees from across the court like he has been doing all game. But it's very clear that he's been frustrated with the officiating all game for good reason or not. Matters not.
Medley has been perfect from the line tonight. 2 for 2 will help to stretch the Jumbos lead here.
Gets that one, lead up to 6. In and out with that one. Lead will stay at 6. And now Brido will finally touch the ball. Going hard to the rack. And one, they're going to say no basket. It's going to be a reach on the floor on Kennelly. And that'll just be, or they're going to get Medley, so he's done. But it'll be nothing more than underneath inbound.
That's important because Medley has been matched up with Brido since he came in. And he's done a really good job shutting him down. Be interesting to see who Linton puts on him. It's going to be the undersized Kennelly, who's known to be a pest on the defensive side.
Riley comes with help, and a reach called on Truman Gettings. Questionable as to whether Brido might have gotten away with a walk there, but he'll be shooting nonetheless.
Jumbos accumulate a burst of fouls there, putting them over that bonus line, allowing Brido to get to the line. He's been pretty quiet since he's come in, understandably marginalized by the foul count he has, but here's a chance to get some crucial points for his side.
Jumbo's crowd starting to make some noise. Gets the first.
Fouls are only going to play into the hand of the Owls from this point on because it stops the clock, and the clock is the Jumbo's friend.
Brido gets them both. Timeout, Keene State.
There's going to be a full timeout for Enright. Going to look to get the Owls back back into their sets. Offensively, they haven't had a lot of success in this second half. Only scoring about 30 points.
And here's where we see the coaching chops of Enright tested. His first season at the Owls, he's had 4 wins so far, albeit a close one against that Williams side. But you're down 4. You're against a top 20 opposition in Cousins Gymnasium. They need to come up with a good strategy here. Need to come up with a good plan and keep their heads, get themselves back in this game, get the ball in the hands of their top players, and bring themselves back in this game.
I'd like to see the Jumbos go back into that 3-2 defense. They've had a lot of success with that. It defends against the 3-ball well, which will be the Owls' friend from here on out, although they have 4 points or 2-11 to work with, which is actually a lot of time, especially because the Owls move so fast. They get shots up fast, and usually they make them at a high percent. Look.
They do. The question I have is, we saw as they went into the huddle that Shakin was coming to the scorer's table. I'm wondering if that's for Octavio Brido, and Coach Enright might think about playing some offense-defense substitutions with 2 timeouts in his pocket and only 2 minutes to play.
He's not going to do that just yet, although I do see him doing that down the line, especially because Brido is such an offensive threat.
We'll see who the Jumbos put on the floor here. They also have the timeouts to theoretically do that, but it looks like they're going to stick with the 5 who've been on the floor for the last 4 or so minutes.
Only exception of that is Maracas, who recently checked in for Medley. Has been having a quieter night by his standards, but still fourth on the Jumbos in scoring with 13.
Keene State in the zone. Kennelly dribbles across the timeline.
They're going to try and take some time off the clock here before they get into their set.
Into Jamesi. He's going to go to work. Spins right. Hook. No. Gets his own board. And it's going to be on the floor. He'll shoot 2.
Jamesi, though, now has gotten his double-double that he's been on the verge of for about 10 minutes now. And it feels fitting as he's had a great night tonight. Already on 20 points. But will be shooting from the line.
Enright still having discussions with the referee. And for someone who's already been warned in a 2-possession game, he is playing awful fast and loose.
Jamesi leads the game in free throw attempts with 13. Next most is 8. He's certainly been to the line a lot and has converted a majority of his with 9 baskets from the free throw line.
Linton does go offense-defense. Zion Watt on the floor for James Maracas. We'll see if he picks up Brido on this possession.
He provides a little bit more length on the defensive side.
Linton wants to talk it over defensively, maybe spring a trap on this Keene State team. You get the feeling one more stop, and the Jumbos can start thinking about playing the clock game.
Definitely. I mean, they've played really, really sound defense this second half. The Owls came into this half with 49 points. They've only gotten to 80 since then. And when you hold a team that averages 90 points per game to 30 and a half, you've really done your job, because they outscored their average in the first half, but they've done an exceptional job defensively, and that's an credit to their coaches.
It was at this game a year ago where the Jumbos established their national pedigree, moving them into the 5th ranking overall, the highest they had been ranked in almost 10 years. The Jumbos tonight, they might not have proved that they are a top team in the nation, but they have proved that that loss to WPI was not a reflection on them, but rather that WPI is a team to be reckoned with.
I would say the Jumbos have proved they are a pretty solid team, though, shooting 57% from the field. A very remarkable number, but Zion Watt comes in, immediately commits a foul.
Foolish foul.
That's his first of the night, though, so he's got plenty to spare.
It is a bad foul, though, because it sends Octavio Brido back to the free throw line.
Yeah, I mean, you want Keene State to use clock in their possessions. When you're fouling them, you're sending a high percentage free throw shooter to the line for 2 free shots.
1-1 here for Brido. Misses it, and Gettings grabs the board. That is so huge. Strap on. Linton telling Maracas to get it across half court. Kennelly doing the handling, puts it on the floor. No one knew. And the Jumbos somehow save it, and Linton calls the timeout.
That was a good timeout by Linton. They were out of sorts from the start there. got away with what should have been a turnover.
Gettings was excellent there to save that.
Yeah. They'll reset with 12 on the shot clock. Minute 24 to go in the game. They're really in control here, and a bucket here could put this game out of reach.
It's impressive for a player of the size of Truman Gettings to get down to the floor that fast. 6'8", standing next to the 5'8" CO, but able to get down, grab the ball, and earn the possession back for the Jumbos.
And I think that's really what Truman Gettings, when he's fully healthy, brings to this Jumbos team. He's a 6'8" big who could score offensively, but he can guard at all 3 levels.
He really can, and he's done an exceptional job with that, especially being matched up with Baptiste earlier in the game. Baptiste has had an overall quiet game. He's done a really good job defending the perimeter. As always, he guards the paint well, going straight up, avoiding foul trouble.
A minute 24 on the clock. Jumbos with a 6-point lead. Have a chance potentially, if they were to get 3 points on this possession, to have their largest lead of the night with a minute 20 to go.
Certainly it has felt a bit like last year's game, except with a little bit wider a swing. Last year's game, 5 minutes in, Keene State established a pretty strong lead. Did not lose it till 2 minutes left in the game. This game, it's been a little bit more back and forth, but Keene State did establish a solid lead pretty early in that first half. Held it for a long time. Jumbo's getting it back about 10 minutes left in the half instead of that 2-minute mark. But still, a very similar swing in momentum.
Inbound, Gettings catches. 10 to shoot. Gonna have to find someone with 5. Maracas tries to catch it. That's off his hands. And a turnover.
And that's the stop the Owls needed. They're going to go with the defensive sub again here. Wooten will check in for Maracas. But you're beginning to think if the Owls are going to need a 3 on this possession instead of just going for the 2.
Jumbo's going to go all the way up with a full court man.
They're going to make him use all the time that they can.
Speaking of a 3 ball, we see who comes in. Shettles is in the court. He has only had a few minutes on the court, but when he did come on, did hit a very important 3-pointer. So definitely a player who they want on the court, taking shots from beyond the arc.
They also bring back in Liam Johnson, 6'4" forward who can stretch the floor and shoot from beyond the perimeter.
We have seen him hit a 3 ball as well, so certainly players who can deliver from beyond the arc.
Brido going to take it up, matched up against Gettings. Jamesi waiting on the switch. Brido to the lane, fade away. Too good.
And what do you do when you're down and when you need those points? You give it to your top player, tell him to make something happen, and that's what he does.
Jumbo's in no hurry as we're under a minute to go in a 2-possession game. Wooten gets it across the timeline. Owls with the trap. Jumbos couldn't affect, really just run this clock down. 40 seconds to play. Wooten around the screen, kicks. Jamesi drives. Canelli with 5. Deep 3. Short, hits the rim. Jamesi had the board. It's on the floor. Shadows grabs it. Shot clock turned off. It's coming around. Time ticking. Brido with 20 seconds. Drives. Passes. Finish. Timeout Keene State with 14 to go.
Wow. I mean, what a job by the Owls there. I mean, they let a lot of time tick off, but Brido was able to get the ball to the top of the key and create without panicking. They're down 2 here, so this type of set is going to call for, they're going to go for 1 trap. If they can't get that trap, force a jump ball or a timeout from Linton, then they're going to foul. And Linton should send out his best 5 free throw shooters. He doesn't necessarily need to worry about size right now. You know that if you're going to get out of that first press, you're going to get fouled. Be ready to shoot free throws coming out of this. Have your best press break play as well.
I mean, there is so few seconds left on the clock that 1 good press break could pretty much ice this game. And a thing to note, because it is that point in the game, as it seemingly always is with these 2 teams, the possession era belongs to the Jumbos should there be a tie-up.
That's big. So that may even force the Owls to be more aggressive, because a jump ball would result in another possession, and they really just don't have that time. I'd imagine that they'll try and jump the lane, be incredibly aggressive, more so than they have been all day. They need that steal.
I was going to say, though, that does feel like more of the same, though, for the Owls. They've really been doing this all game, but they're going to have to really up that game. And you got to watch the possibility of some reach calls here, as they've struggled with this throughout the game. They got to be careful, particularly if it's Brido, because while there are 40 seconds left, if they get the ball back, there's no other player you want the ball in his hands, possibly in all of New England, than Octavio Brido.
Jumbo's going to run with the same 5.
Looks like they have Brido guarding Riley, who in all likelihood won't be the first person to get the ball out of the break. Or they have Brido on Jamesi.
Inbound to Kennelly. Double comms, gets it to Maracas. He's got space. And a foul, and that is a very generous foul call for Keene State.
I think that was more the refs anticipating that they were going to
Yeah.
foul rather than a foul actually occurring.
But they didn't call it on Brido, although he was in the area. They called it on Siao. That's going to send Maracas to the line for 2
All right, Harrison.
huge free throws.
Got to ask you, if he hits them both, if you're Brendan Litton, do you foul?
No. Too little time, probably. 9 seconds is going to take them 4 or 5 seconds to get the ball up the court. You don't need to foul at that point.
You certainly don't foul when they're taking a 3-point, though. Got to give them space.
Go straight up.
Maracas gets the first, lead back to 3. Settles back into the game. Jumbo's backing up defensively.
Maracas, an 84% free throw shooter on the year.
And that is the exact question Scott Jamesi's asking. Do we foul if he makes it?
Big free throw. Difference between a 1 and 2 possession game coming.
He gets it. Wooten will check in for Maracas.
Notably, John Baptiste is all the way up the court with Riley marking him. Odaise has also moved up.
9 seconds to go from Cousins.
Brido. Gonna have to put it up quick. Step back. Left is short. Jamesi with the board. And the Jumbos are gonna knock off the unbeaten Owls.
What a game. On all facets, they really outplayed the Owls in the second half. Down 6 coming into the second half after having allowed 50 points. They only allow 34 the next half. Really, really nicely done from the Jumbos. Great coaching adjustments from Linton. They're able to finish the job, get a ranked win.
All right, we're going to step aside momentarily. We'll be back in a few minutes with a post-game interview. Stay tuned. And welcome back here to JumboCast. Riley Daniel now joined with Liam Kennelly. Liam, got to start with the obvious. A career high in points here tonight. What did that feel like? It just felt like everything you were taking was going in.
Yeah, it's just honestly just trusting my teammates, letting the game come to me, just having a ton of fun out there and not forcing anything and just really just playing like a kid out there, honestly.
It felt like it. And the energy you provide on that defensive end, especially the way you play with just that passion. What goes into it that it just feels like no matter what the scoreboard says, you're playing like you're just a kid out at recess.
Yeah, I mean, it's just how I grown up. Family, got 3 siblings, so just grinding all my life, just having fun out there, and I take pride in defense and knowing that the offense is going to come from that and just having as much fun as I can.
This is a Keene State team that's known for their three-point shooting ability. They came in shooting 37% on the year. They shot 22% tonight. What did you guys do that just shut them down from deep?
From day one, coaches talked about just defending the three ball well. We had a great game plan coming in. That was all credit to them, and just honing in on our scout and just being able to execute through pressure. So credit to the coaches for that.
All right, so last weekend, WPI came in. They knocked you guys off,
Yep.
shooting 60% from the field.
Yep.
Tonight, Keene State comes in. You guys shoot 60% from the field. What does that tell you about your ability to really just turn it on in big games? And what does that mean going forward with the two big games with the NESCAC UAA Challenge this weekend?
Yeah, honestly, coach just talked about us responding to adversity. He's talked about that it's not what happens to you, it's what you do about it. So we just came out here knowing we got to get one back, just play hard. And like coach said, where the chips fall, they'll land, and we just had to play hard out there.
Well, it definitely landed the right way tonight. Thanks, Liam.
Appreciate it.